Hello everyone and welcome to my fourth reading reflection. We are slowly but surely making our way through the semester and exhaustion is slowly starting to set in. So this is my fourth reading reflection. I've got a lot to cover that I want to talk about, but hopefully I can make this one pretty brief. So this is for weeks 10 through 12. So starting in week 10, I looked at this article, Scaffolding to Make Translanguaging, I hope I'm saying that right, a Classroom Norm. So I really liked this chart on the left. We see a combination of consistent scaffolding and over time with productive student engagement can lead to translanguaging as a norm. And I just thought that was really interesting. And then the one on the right, we see things that go into scaffolding. So pedagogical knowledge, knowledge of students, and content knowledge. I really like how this chart showed the importance of all three of those being a part of scaffolding plans. And it should really say successful scaffolding plans. Then for week 10, I also really liked these charts and examples from the article. So the one on the left is a chart about why we translate. So the left side is for communication, and then the right side is a tool for learning. And I just think that this is so cool, and this is definitely something that I want to incorporate in my future classroom, because I feel like, especially if translating isn't explicitly discussed, I feel like students can often feel like translating is like their obligation or just kind of like their responsibility that's just put on them, not by choice, to be a translator, for their parents if they don't speak the same language. But, explicitly having this discussion with them on how translating is important, it is important for communication, and then it's also a tool for learning, and then it can benefit them in the future to be a bilingual citizen. I think that would build their confidence so much and just really be an important part of their education to have this conversation with them about translating. So I just thought that was really cool. And then the one on the right, talking about strategies, I also thought this was very interesting and useful. So the one that I'm most familiar with is definitely cognates. I love cognates, especially like the Spanish to English ones. I think that's such a great tool for learning, and you can see some examples here. Let me get out my pointer. You can see some examples here below it. But the rest of these, these examples. So the rest of these, we have opposites, which I've definitely seen in my couple of years of studying Spanish. I've definitely seen a lot of opposites as well as cognates. So that can definitely be confusing, and I think if you address cognates with students, you should also address opposites too, and let them know that not all words are cognates from one language to the other. And then borrowing, that definitely happens sometimes in languages, and then descriptions or describe. So use words in your native language to explain what something is, which I think is really cool. And then looking at scaffolding, it's so interesting to see this chart and just, wow, just such an in-depth description of the scaffolding process. I just think this is extremely impressive. But what I'll just highlight very briefly, looking over here on the left column at the stage and purpose. So in the beginning, build and activating background knowledge and highlighting key vocabulary terms. During, we have help students apply reading strategies, and then amplifying is help students make connections. And of course it goes into strategies, grouping, and procedures, and has like a very detailed list of those. But I mean, wow, this is just so beneficial, and you could take so much from this. So I just thought that was really cool. So this video is very interesting, and I really like this because I feel like there's a couple other videos that I watched that I'll talk about in a minute, but I feel like this video relates the most to like what a classroom looks like in this area in East Tennessee. And I just thought this video was very interesting, and the teacher did a really great job of using a lot of beneficial strategies, especially for, I think this group is like middle school group. And this teacher just, gave examples of a lot of very successful strategies. So this is pretty much what I wrote down is just like the outline of the video when it has like little pop-ups and like highlights the strategies that the teacher is using. As I was watching the video, I just created like an outline of what it showed in the video. So this is everything that the teacher used. So considerations for reading complex text, other strategies mentioned throughout the video, you know, text coding, note catcher, read aloud. All of these are awesome strategies. And then the cycle of close reading, which was reading, thinking, talking, and writing. So I just thought that was, you know, a very great example lesson, especially for middle school. And I'm currently in a placement where I'm traveling between an elementary and 2 middle schools. So I would say, you know, probably like a year ago or so, this video probably wouldn't have interested me as much. But since I'm currently in a middle school placement this semester, this video was actually very interesting for me, and just to see how things can be incorporated with, you know, older learners, and how you can still help English language learners in like a general classroom where you just have a handful of ELLs. I really like this chart. This is from an article in week 11. So suggested strategy implementation for English language learners. So over here on the left we have the strategies, and then we have like young ELLs, beginning readers, transitional, advanced, before, during, after. So all of this is just, once again, so helpful, so interesting. Of course, I, being an elementary education major, am mostly interested in like these first 3, not so much the advanced readers. But just having all of these strategies in one place and seeing when the best time to use these is very helpful. And then before, during, and after reading, that's also very helpful as well. So I really like this analysis of reading, qualitative analysis of reading miscue analysis interviews. So I feel like a lot of times when teachers analyze miscues in student reading, we see some on here like didn't know the word, was fatigued, was not concentrating. I feel like those are the common themes of what teachers may like blame it on, but I just really liked this very concise and lengthy and thorough list of a variety of themes that can occur in miscue analysis. So reading something that looked the same, applied a decoding strategy, did not know the pronunciation, was influenced by a word used earlier in parts of the text. Like, that's so specific, and it's so interesting that they did this analysis and came up with all of these themes. So I feel like when you're analyzing students reading, that this would be a very helpful chart to have, and actually to look deeply within the miscues that they're making and see what may be the actual root cause of their miscue, and not just, oh, they didn't know the word, or oh, they were tired, or they were not motivated, or whatever. I really think that this would be helpful to have. Then I looked at an asset-based practice for teaching bilingual readers. So I really like this transliteracy teaching cycle. Analyze an opportunity for transliteracy, teach how to apply literacy strength cross-linguistically, and then observe in both languages, and then just cycling through that. And then the chart on the right, we're looking at foundational skills. So transliteracy observation framework for foundational skills. All of these are, of course, very important. We see observations in Spanish and observations in English. So I think for a teacher that really didn't know any Spanish and had some ELLs in their classroom, and they're trying to analyze their reading and work on their foundational skills, this would be a very helpful chart for them. Yes. Okay, so finally on to week 12. These are the last couple of slides. So I watched 2 videos for week 12, and I just loved this video. This video was seriously, like, in my opinion, the ideal bilingual classroom. Like, this is my dream classroom that I hope to be in one day. Hopefully I'll become fluent in Spanish enough to be in a classroom like this, because this was an absolute dream. But I just think it's so cool how they promoted bilingualism just every day throughout the school day, and like pretty much, it seemed like anyways, a good chunk of the instruction was bilingual, like in Spanish and English. The teacher and the students were both switching back and forth. And I just think that's so cool because truly, students that come to school and are bilingual or multilingual, that is how their real life is. So it's only going to make them more successful long term if this is the kind of instruction that they're having at school. So I just thought that was so cool. But in this video, we see a lot of emphasis and usage of cognates, which at the elementary level is very helpful for them. And then, in my opinion, we see the ideal bilingual classroom. And then the second video that I watched was was a group of older students. I'm thinking high school. And this was also interesting to watch and just see what it looks like at a different age level. But the students were also using a lot of similar strategies from the first video, and it was very interesting to watch. I really liked it. So again, we see a lot of emphasis and usage of cognates. We see another ideal bilingual classroom. This one is more at the high school level, and we see examples of flashcards, categories, and writing English words in their home language. And it seems like the teacher is monolingual in this example, which is different from the other video where it seemed like most all of the teachers were bilingual. So that was interesting to see how the teacher can be monolingual and still incorporate that bilingual instruction into the classroom. And on top of that, in this video, it seemed like most all of the students spoke Spanish as their first language, as well as the teacher. So it was kind of like Spanish-English bilingual instruction. Whereas this video, there were students that spoke a variety of different languages in the classroom. So it actually wasn't like necessarily a negative that the teacher was monolingual, because she had such a wide variety of languages of students in her classroom. So she just referred to the language as their home language. So whatever language they spoke at home, there was Spanish, I saw some Arabic in there, and then she mentioned a few other languages as well. So it's really cool to see that even being a monolingual teacher with students that speak a variety of first languages, you can still have successful bilingual instruction. And that's all I have for the what is this called? Culminating reflection? Reading reflection? I'm sorry, I don't know, my brain. That is all that I have for reading reflection number 4. If you have any questions, please comment below or on the discussion board post. I'd love to chat with you more about these articles and videos, and I really thought these past few weeks have been very interesting and very informative, and I look forward to taking these resources with me into my own classroom one day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!